think we're recording. Oh yeah, we are recording. Okay. All
All
right.
right.
This is a special. I don't do too many posts to the Next Uprising page here, but this is when it comes time to fill out ballots. I know that they can be extremely confusing, so I try and get somebody that's maybe a little smarter than me and that might be a little more informed than me to help me decipher what a lot of these are. And you just told me, and I got permission from you to record some information you had on these, but the history of advisory votes, I never remember. I thought that they were something new, but I wasn't quite sure. But can you repeat what you just told me for everybody listening? How did the advisory votes come into creation in the first place?
Well, basically, they were an initiative set up by Tim Einman, as it was explained to me, where he wants every time tax money is spent by the legislature, he wants it to be on our ballot so that we can tell them how we feel about them spending our taxes. So I personally, and a lot of people I know, don't even read them. I go through and I vote maintain on every single one of them. We voted for and elected our members of the legislature, Senate and House, state legislature. I trust that they're voting, that they're representing me because I voted for them to represent me. And they already took care of this business. We don't need to readdress it. So he basically, because he's against taxes in general, he managed to get something put together so that we can see every tax dollar that gets voted on every session in the following election. The problem is,
well, I was going to say, and the ridiculousness of that is this is not saving saving taxpayers. This is costing how much every time these things get put on the ballot?
Well, in Thurston County now, and this is just Thurston County, it is $7,000 to put something on the ballot. So every single one of those ballot items is $7,000 of our tax money. So personally, I think that this issue needs to be readdressed at by our representatives and senators to get it taken back off of the ballot. There's no reason for it to be there. Most people don't pay attention to it. Those that do get confused by it, and it's just a waste of money. And time.
Okay. All right. So now let's on my ballot here we have referendum measure 88. It says the legislature passed initiative measure number 1000 concerning affirmative action and remedying discrimination, and voters have filed a sufficient referendum petition on this act. What is the what would you recommend we vote and why?
Okay, so I recommend that we vote yes on 88. Why?
That would be approved, right?
Approve, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I don't have the ballot in front of me anymore, so the language is going to be a little off.
I totally do, so it's okay.
Okay, so again, this goes back to Tim Einman. Congratulations, Tim Einman. You're on the ballot so much this year. It's amazing.
Do we have a referendum against stealing office chairs?
We should. We totally should.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a crime already, though. So and
all right.
But the first initiative Tim Einman ever took on was affirmative action back in the 90s. He got it removed from the state law so that we could not use affirmative action here in Washington. A majority of states use affirmative action. Washington can't because we voted it out. And so we're trying to vote it back in. We're trying to make it so that it is an option for stated for the state to be able to use affirmative action when making decisions for hiring. It's not mandatory that they use it. But they can't at all right now. So this allows them to. And I think it's a step in the right direction. I think affirmative action has helped throughout the country in trying to bring equity to the hiring practices, and that's what this does. So I'm all for having it vote passed. The legislature already passed it, but again, Tim Eyman managed to get the referendum on the ballot because he sued. And now we get to vote on it again. We're again wasting taxpayer dollars, putting something on the ballot that was already taken care of by our legislator.
Okay. Now, initiative measure number 976 concerns motor vehicle taxes and fees. The measure would repeal, reduce, or remove authority to impose certain vehicle taxes and fees, limit annual motor vehicle license fees to $30, but yet we want our roads fixed and our infrastructure improved. So I'm saying that I'm guessing that this is another Tim Eyman a waste of taxpayer dollars, and
yes.
If I'm understanding it correctly, we should say no. Correct?
Correct. Okay. This one is probably the most important thing on our ballot this year. It sounds wonderful, only having to pay $30 for your car tabs. I mean, I understand some people have to pay over $100, sometimes $300. But if you do end up paying $30, the state's going to lose billions of dollars that are supposed to go towards infrastructure. A lot of our infrastructure is paid for in cycles. So if you look at the road improvements that are going on I-5, for example, right now, the capital fund paid for however much of it they think is going to be able to get done, maybe a little bit more just for a cushion, by the next capital budget vote. And then they'll vote on the next portion of it that they'll pay for. Well, the problem is the next portion will be based on this new 976 if it passes, and there'll be less money available, and they'll have these projects that can't get finished. And the other thing that it's going to affect is sound transit in Seattle, which is Eyman's actual goal. He wants to get rid of sound transit in Seattle. He wants to get rid of he wants more cars on the road, I guess, and less buses. And he doesn't want the light rail. And he doesn't. And so these are things that we need.
Well, so basically, I think it can be summed up in a couple of lines real quickly. I like to simplify things as much as possible for people.
Okay.
First off, do you like potholes? Because that's how you end up with potholes. And number two, there's a lot of people who go to and from their jobs using this mass city transit. So do you want more people on welfare? Because that's how you get more people on welfare, because they can't get to and from work. So again, Tim Eyman costing the taxpayers more money, not less. So yeah, that's just me trying to sum that up as easy as possible.
Thank you. I can go on all day.
So advisory vote number 20, second substitute House Bill 1087. The legislature imposed without a vote of the people an additional wage premium for long-term care services costing an indeterminate amount in its first 10 years for government spending. Again, that's a maintain, I assume, because now yeah. What exact long-term care is that for? Our elderly, our infirmed, what?
Honestly, I don't spend any time on these. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So we're basically just going to go maintain, because usually The taxes, as much as people hate paying taxes, they go to services that help grandma, help grandpa, help that handicapped friend or relative or coworker to be able to just function at the least at the lowest sustainable level possible. So
And to put
yeah,
it really simply, all you're doing is advising the legislature of your opinion on it. It doesn't change the law.
yeah, okay. And that's very important to know, is that it doesn't
Yeah.
change anything. It's only saying, hey, this is my opinion. This is kind of what I feel about this certain thing. So that's all it is it's no different than it seems like it actually would have less of an impact than calling your senator or Congress person or writing them a hand letter would actually have bigger impact than the way you vote on these advisory votes. So
Exactly.
they seem extremely silly. So now we're going to jump right to the proposed constitutional amendment. That is the Senate Joint Resolution number 8200. The legislature has proposed a constitutional amendment concerning legislative powers in times of emergency. This measure would add catastrophic incidents to the specified times of emergency that the legislature may take certain immediate actions to ensure continuity of state and local government operations. Should this constitutional amendment be approved or rejected?
And I put approved. And the reason for that is originally when this state emergency system was put into place, it was put into place with the idea of nuclear war and the West Coast being attacked. We are more likely to have the Cascadia Fault be an issue at this point than nuclear war. And we don't have a system in place for dealing with that.
And we've heard for many years that the big one is coming along that Cascade fault line, and we keep hearing that basically the longer it takes to happen, the bigger it's going to be, and this is basically going to help cover that when it does happen. Correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whenever we hear about talk, the big one is coming. That's what this is about. Yep.
Basically,
okay.
This is if Olympia was where it got hit and suddenly there was nobody left in government, this would be a way to reestablish.
Cool. All right. So we are definitely approving that because, when the big one hits, we'd like to be, somehow saved and a rescue team sent. Yes. So Thurston County Emergency Communication Systems and Facilities, Proposition number 1, Sales and Use Tax. The Board of County Commissioners of Thurston County adopted ordinance number 802 concerning sales and use tax for emergency communication systems and facilities to finance costs associated with financing, design, acquisition, construction, equipping, operating, maintaining, remodeling, repairing, equipping, and improvement of emergency communication systems and facilities. This proposition authorizes the imposition of an additional sales and use tax at the rate of 0.1% for emergency communication systems and facilities pursuant to Chapter 82.14. Should this proposition be approved, yes or no?
Yes. This is my personal opinion. I haven't actually discussed this with anybody, but I've worked for government long enough to know we are really slow to improve our systems. And when we finally do, it's because there's no longer a choice. And they're saying they need to. That means there's really no longer a choice. Yep. I mean, you and I both work for government. We both know that this is the way it works when it comes to computer systems in the government. So what I did here is when the train accident happened, and people from both Thurston County and Pierce County had to go out and deal with the issues and get everybody to the hospital and try and do rescue. Their computer systems were incompatible with each other. They literally had to talk to people face to face in order to communicate between the two rescue groups. And it was very disorganized because Thurston County is behind the times. And so this really did cause a big problem, and now we need to make sure it stops being a problem.
Okay. Now, when it comes to voting for actual people, things get a little less confusing.
Yeah.
And just so that people know, I like to be nice and open and clear, but I vote when it comes to who to vote for. I vote straight along Our Revolution Thurston.
Okay.
And they kind of make things nice and simple. But let me know if and for the record, I am voting in Lacey, not Olympia. So some of these are Olympia, Washington positions. But
And I'm
we
putting in Olympia, not Lacey. So
okay. So there we go. Now we got. It doesn't show his first name, but I think his first name is Nathaniel Jones for Olympia mayor. And please correct me if I pronounce anybody's name wrong. Alyssa Humbert for Olympia City Council. Matt Goldenberg.
Alyssa is no longer on the ballot.
Oh, what's this?
Alyssa isn't on the ballot. She lost the primary.
Oh, okay. All right. So who is on the ballot?
Okay, so Matt Goldenberg is on the ballot against Danny Madrone. Then there is Phyllis Booth against Jessica Bateman, and Nathaniel Jones against Cheryl Selby. And I can talk about all of them. I'm familiar with all of them pretty well.
Okay. And they are on this current ballot if you live in Olympia.
Correct.
Okay, so who are you recommending people vote for? Matt Goldenberg, I assume, is one, and Nathaniel Jones is another.
I actually voted Danny Madrone
Okay,
rather than Matt Goldenberg. Matt's a great guy, and you can't lose on that particular race, in my opinion, because they both are really good. Matt is really good on very specific issues, and including houselessness and trauma and trying to repair some of the things going on in town there. And he's really smart and he can pick up on all the other issues. Danny has been an activist in Olympia for over 7 years now, and she is knowledgeable about almost every issue that the council is working on right now, and they pretty much agree on everything. So
okay,
it's not like you're losing either way, whichever way you vote on that. But I personally have been working to get Danny elected.
okay,
But I also really like Matt and have become friends with him, and I think he's a great guy, and really want to see him go farther and do more.
okay. Now we got on my ballot, we got Helen Wheatley against Joe Downing, and I believe Our Revolution Thurston recommends Helen Wheatley. We got Malcolm Miller versus Sarah Jean Morris, and I believe both of us agree Sarah Jean Morris.
Yep.
And then we've got Harold Jones against Lenny Greenstein, and I don't have any information on either. Do you?
They're both conservative. They're both, I won't say they're both Republicans because it's a nonpartisan race.
Okay.
But they're both conservative. Lenny is the one currently in office. I can't recommend anybody on this race.
Okay. Okay. And then there's Linda, and that could be why I don't have any information on them. We've got Linda N. Zeman against Ed Kunkel, and I believe we're both in agreement that we're endorsing Linda N. Zeman for the city council position number 3.
This
We've got
conversation started because I was phone banking for her earlier today.
yes. And we've got now. This is something I have absolutely. This is the sad part about some of these school board. When it comes to school board directors, I have absolutely no. It does not affect me one bit. The people in the North Thurston Public Schools school board. But if it was an election for Olympia School District, since I work for the district, I have a major opinion on those. But yet I can't vote in them because of where I live. I have absolutely no say, even though I have an opinion on that, but not the one I have a say in. So it's exact opposite of what I would like. So I need to move closer to work, I guess. But So I don't know if you know anything about Gretchen Maliska versus Jason Noir.
Yes, Jason Noir was recruited by the Washington Educator Association Union for teachers.
Okay.
And Gretchen, during the contract negotiations, was very anti-union.
Well, if somebody's anti-union, I'm kind of anti-them.
Yeah,
Because just putting all bias right on the table. I am probably one of the most pro-union people you will ever meet. So
I'm on the political action committee for my union, so I'm right there with you.
yeah. Now Graham Sackerson. Probably butchered the heck out of this person's name, so my apologies. But they're running unopposed, so we're not going to really discuss them unless you
Graham,
want to.
I've heard good things about. No worries there.
Okay, you heard good things. Okay, and then we got Alyssa Compton Clark versus Dave Newkirk.
I know nothing about them. I tried to learn a little something about them because we were doing endorsements and with Thurston County Dems and LD22 Dems. The only thing I know is Carolyn Cox said that Dave is the one that's currently in office and does good.
Okay.
And I like Carolyn Cox. She usually gives me pretty good advice on who to vote for, so I'm trusting her on that.
Another smart lady who I have high respect for.
Yeah.
So Dave Newkirk is the one we're leaning towards on that one.
That's who I voted for, but again,
Okay.
I'm weird. I live in Olympia, but I actually vote North Thurston School District. So
I work in Olympia School District, but have no say in who goes to those positions. Sadly,
I have no children, so I'm not affected one way or the other for the most part.
Yep. Well, the only way I'm affected is I work in the place, so you know.
Yeah. I still find it important.
We got Fire Protection District number 3 in Lacey, Ken Morse or Sylvia Roberts. I'm not going to try her middle name.
Anything on the fire districts, honestly.
Okay.
I didn't have anything like that on my ballot, so I didn't really look at it.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that covers it. And Tracy, unless you have any closing statements for people other than please, by whatever deity you believe in, get out the vote and get those ballots in. For the record, when is the absolute deadline to get these ballots in?
8 p.m. November 5th, which is Tuesday. And you can drop them off in any of the drop boxes around town, or you can mail them. And they have to be postmarked Tuesday, November 5th. And if you are not registered to vote, you can go into the county auditor's office up through Tuesday, and register and vote. So it's not too late.
Cool. All right. Well, I thank you very much for helping me walk through this, and I'm going to press stop recording.
Yay!